A little delayed there. Deputy Mayor kind of dragged that out in there, I guess. Just kidding. At time, I had a chance to talk to everybody out here, so it's good. Yeah, well, yeah, I disclosed under the conflict of interest for. Why I say what?
Just Palmerston Industrial Park.
Palmerston Industrial Park lot purchase. So I had a conflict there. Okay. We're into open previous minutes. We have a long meeting today, but it's a very productive meeting. I'm really excited about it.
Oh no, you're right. Sorry.
Okay, well, moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councillor Elliott. The minutes of the December 1st, 2016 budget meeting and minutes of the January 24th, 2017 budget meeting be approved. Any questions, comments? No? All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. The minutes of the March 21st, 2017 council meeting be approved. All in favor? Okay. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Turton. The town of Minto convenes in the committee of the whole. All in favor? Okay.
What's that?
Additional items is disclosed. Anybody got any? Here, Lou?
Oh, right side there.
All right side got something?
Probably make something up.
Oh, yeah, Ronald makes it now.
Even about 9 o'clock.
I already said what I was going to say.
There you go. Okay. Resolution moving council into that public meeting. Don't have any delegations. We have the farmers market. And Luke, welcome. Come on up. It's your moment on television.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Don't blow it, eh?
You want maybe if you
stand the mic?
stand the mic, then we want to hear your good voice there.
Thank you, Council, for letting me come in and do an overview of the market review from last year and outlook for this year coming up. So I'm Luke Hartung. I am a vendor as well as on the committee for the Palmerston Market Committee in Minto Farmers Markets. We sell at the Palmerston one every Saturday mornings. It's Harwell Farms. And some highlights from 2016. It was a fairly successful year. On average, every Saturday morning, we had anywhere from 10 to 15 vendors per time, depending on what was in season, strawberries or sweet corn, a couple of seasonal vendors. The event days were quite successful. We always have good attendance on them. Those include things like Strawberry Social and Family Day. So there's usually some free giveaways to people who come to those days. One initiative that was really successful this year, at least I felt that, and talking to other vendors as well, was the Market Bucks initiative. It sounded like it started last year in Wellington North and expanded to Minto for this year. We saw a lot of new people come out and use them, so that was good. We've been, I believe the county's talked to a couple of us vendors, and it sounds like it's going to go ahead for next year. And
Luke, would you explain what that is?
So the Market Bucks is a program where certain members of the community get basically vouchers, $5 vouchers that they can use at the farmers markets in, I think, Wellington North, Minto, and I believe Center Wellington. I could be wrong on that, but
just the north right now.
Just the north, okay.
Yeah. So,
anyways, members of the community get them. I don't know who hands them out, but I'm assuming they're on some sort of a social program with the community, and they can use them exchanged at the market on produce and baked goods, I think. And just an initiative to try to get some more newer people that we don't normally see at the market out to the market to reinvest. And so then we hand them into Taylor, and she then reimburses us with money at the end of the year.
And just on that, Linda, we can actually, like, if I want to give somebody $20 worth of Market Bucks, I can give as a gift. I can buy them from you to do that.
Yes, yeah, they're trying to destigmatize the program for being like food stamps. So the public can buy them, put them in gift baskets, do whatever they want, and purchase stuff at the markets. Yep.
It's just trying to get people to eat healthy and go after stuff that is.
Yeah, so it definitely has brought people out that we haven't seen before, which is pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Just an overview of our budget from 2016. We did run a deficit in 2016. That's primarily to two things. We did a sponsorship for Memorial Tree. One vendor who sold at the Palmerston Market passed away in July 2015, I believe. And so we put a memorial tree up at the park in Palmerston for that, as well as a plowing match sponsorship. We had a reserve fund of $2,100, so we were able to dip into that. Moving into 2017, our budget already shows a $2,000 surplus, so that's good. We continued with our fundraiser trivia nights, and they were very successful. We had two in January and February, and raised over $1,300, so that was great. And we're going to resurrect the corn roast again this year at the Palmerston Fair, as well as the corn eating contest. So any counselors that want to participate, talk to me in August. And we're going to continue with a couple of our special days at the market, which includes Strawberry Social and Family Day once again, as well as the hand car race and Party in the Park Day. So that's really all I had. So I just want to thank, on behalf of Palmerston Market, the Minto Markets, thank you to the town. You guys support us in a lot of ways with the facility, as well as help on the planning meetings and whatnot. In fact, Taylor printed off notes for me for this meeting, so it was great. So yeah, Taylor specifically, and Bob at the train heritage station as well, and Belinda. And there's probably more I have forgotten about, but we thank them too. Do you guys have any questions?
Linda has one back there.
Yeah.
Not a question. I just want to say thanks to Luke, and Crystal's not here, but and all the vendors at the Palmerston Market. Luke and Crystal are the real leaders there and the vendors, and without those people, this is a really dedicated group of people, and they go above and beyond. They're not just there Saturdays, but Luke's doing the trivia nights with Vince and bringing in a bunch of money. They put floats and parades. They're very engaged. They do the corn roast themselves. So we're just there to support them, but they're the real leaders and deserve a lot of the credit for the success of the Palmerston Market, and continues to grow, and it's a great venue. And so just thanks to Luke, Crystal, and the team there.
Thank you.
Thanks for your work.
Yeah, no problem. So if there's no questions,
Any other questions?
You can say for the whole
Well,
council.
I just wanted to say that I'm the council representative on
That's
the
right.
Palmerston Farmers Market, and Belinda took the words right in my mouth, said it way more eloquently than I could. But in any case, yeah, it's a real pleasure to sit on that committee, and you guys are doing a great job.
Awesome. No, thanks. So yeah, first Saturday in June, be there.
We will.
Yep.
How many people do you figure you have in it on a Saturday?
That's a good question, and we should track that, but I don't know.
I look across, everybody goes through, I can see from my place, right? And it just
Yeah.
looks like you got a huge crowd all the time. Doesn't seem to.
Yeah.
Your specialty days, they swell up a bit, but.
Yeah, we got a really awesome venue, which helps, and but yeah, and weather makes the crowd go up and down as well. But
Yeah.
we should, but we haven't. I guess that'd be one thing to look at as far as tracking.
That'd be something we could look at.
Yeah,
And I just want to add the fact that the whole concept of the park, the museum, having the farmers market there on Saturdays, it just adds to the whole experience. And I think, all that hard work has gone into that whole facility over there.
Mhm.
Having the market there, just an added bonus, and we appreciate you being there.
Yeah, we've talked to a lot of people that have moved to Palmerston, and they're really excited to see they have a market. So that's a good bonus for them.
Yep.
So
Thank
The
you.
water feature should help. For
Yeah.
the venue too.
yeah, I'll certainly add some ambience
Once
as
you
well.
get some fish in it, Ron.
Yeah.
Fish, yeah, we can do a derby.
Gotta have somebody capable of catching it.
I think we're putting shrimp in the fountain.
There you go. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Bridge, on the correspondence, the
Yes.
first item is the
Oh,
Township of
I have a
Calgary.
public question period
Oh,
first.
okay, sorry.
Public question period.
Sir? Member of the public.
Yeah, there he is. Okay.
So the first item is a piece of correspondence from the municipality of Calvin regarding mandatory provincial regulations on septic systems. So the chief building official is chomping at the bit to write a report for you. So we added that into the correspondence since we had 18 other reports on.
I know.
So,
Really good.
So this is a really exciting one.
Did you bring the stick in?
Well, I didn't bring the stick in, but by all the chuckles, it doesn't seem like everyone's excited. as
There's
I
the
am.
stick.
So basically what the proposed legislation is a mandatory 5-year septic pump out cycle. The other thing that it mandates is that the owner of the septic system retain records on it and can face up to $10,000 fine per day. The current legislation or the current building code requires that once the septic tank has reached a third of its working capacity, then it gets pumped out. So there are things in place currently. Part of source water protection, the building department bought a tool to measure the sludge level in septic tanks, which was an awesome, fun job. And what we found is that the systems that were pumped out within a 5-year period, their sludge levels ranged between like 3.5 to 9%, versus the 33% which would mandate current pump out. So to me, based on, and it was just a limited scope that we were looking at, the amount of pump outs that would be required by this 5-year window would be excessive. So not only would it cost the owner of the tank additional money, that effluent's got to go somewhere. So some municipal sewage treatment plant that's going to be treating this septic sludge is going to have higher demand than what it currently faces. So it's not just the owners of the tank that's going to be facing additional cost. It would be the municipality as well, or they're obviously going to charge to have the effluent dropped off. So that's pretty much the long and short of it. I'm in support of the resolutions opposed to this building code change, feeling that if there is something that council wants to do that sees there's a problem with our septic systems, then to me, a mandatory septic reinspection program is the way to go. It looks at the whole system versus just what the pump out cycle is. Give us a chance to look at the tank, look at the bed, and if there's an issue, we can address the whole system, not just a mandatory 5-year pump out time. Any questions on that?
No, I think it's just a case of trying to overregulate this again.
Yep.
It would cost us all money.
Yep.
And I think it's a good solution.
So Mayor Bridge, on that item from the municipality of Calvin,
Yep.
there was a motion to accept or support that resolution. We would
Have somebody move that? Mayor Faulkner, Councilor Turton, all in favor?
Thank you.
Mayor
All
Bridge-
done. And I wish you would have brought the stick in. I want to see it.
There was a picture in
I saw the picture, but I want to see it in action.
No, you don't. Not sterilized.
Bring it in empty, by the way. Okay.
Mayor Bridge, there's 2 items of correspondence regarding AEDs, and our fire chief is going to
Yes.
report on the upper grand policy on that's coming maybe next meeting. But so the rest of the correspondence, I think we would
So we want to wait to support that when
later on.
Later on? Okay. You know what, when we're talking about it?
If we could receive the others, except for the Youth for Christ, Youth Unlimited, we've usually given them a grant.
Mhm.
So if we could maybe approve that request under item 11I. Oftentimes it was, they did a delegation, but maybe we can have Mr. Mole back another day.
Motion? Gene? Judy? Don't everybody jump up here. This is a long meeting. Okay.
It's not Gene's fault.
Yeah, all in favor?
Sorry, who was the seconder?
Judy.
Judy.
I think me.
J&J, we think.
J and J. Okay, good. Yes, we did.
I was moving on to the other ones. Could you just receive the rest?
Yeah, we're just going to receive the rest. Can I have a motion for that? Councilor Elliott?
Quickly.
Councilor Turton, all in favor?
Yeah, these are easy.
Okay,
Let's get them out.
all right. We're into reports, committees. James away. Any concerns on there?
Only the fact that they're down to 4 now geared to income.
Yeah.
Just people hear about Clifford and that there's no, if they don't have a vehicle, they feel they can't go there. So they repeatedly go through the list.
Mhm.
The last apartment I think was Mary DeVore's, and they revamped the whole apartment, cleaned it up because she'd been in there for like 15 years. I mean, they're nice looking units, but it will probably go to just
Market
regular
rent.
rental income. But there's, the
Well, then-
county's aware of it, and
Well, the other nice thing, Gene, the market rent isn't that high.
no, it's very little difference between
Very
the
little
two,
difference
so.
between the two, and so the beauty of it is we get to keep local residents
Well, and
there.
they've managed to keep it for seniors, so
Yeah.
it's good affordable housing and
Yep.
reasonable and well maintained. They do
Yep.
a really
Great
great job
job.
up there
Great
managing
job.
that. It's really nicely done.
Sure is.
Do you want to move that?
Sure.
By Gene, second by Ron. All in favor? Okay, good. Maitland Valley. David, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, the Maitland Valley group are busy preparing for the summer, the upcoming summer at the conservation parks and things. It's something that they do always at this time of year. But the one thing that I wanted to talk about was the Maitland Valley Gala is in Brussels on the 28th of April, and I have tickets for that. So if anybody's interested in going. Also, last year the town donated a little gift, and I'm wondering if we can do that again. Sure. Please. Thank you.
Move it.
Yep, I can move that.
Okay. Second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. All in favor? Good. That was both sets, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Culture Roundtable, and here we are.
I will be brief. The main things I wanted to point out are obviously it's Canada's 150th this year. We, as the town, put on the Fire and Ice event in December, and we will be doing it again this year. Instead of us planning any other events, we would just like to support those that are already doing things. So the roundtable we always have our cultural enhancement grant. That's about $2,500. We upped that to $3,500 this year and allowed groups to apply to up to $1,000 instead of $500 was the maximum before. But it has to be related to Canada's 150th. So at the last meeting, we're making a recommendation that we approve the grants for $1,000 to the Crossroads Life Church and $500 to the Palmerston Lions. The Crossroads Church does a big Canada Day event every year, and this year they're adding a bunch of Canadian-themed artists, music, speech, like poetry, storytelling, and then the Splash Bash for the Lions has been moved to Canada Day this year, and they're adding Canadian musical entertainment. So we'd like to support those two initiatives. And the other thing that I just wanted to mention out of these minutes, or highlight, I guess, is that Culture Days this year at the end of September, we're planning a culture crawl. So looking at partnering with different facilities, cultural facilities in the area, pairing local food and beverage at those facilities, and having different activities. So it'll be cultural activities at cultural venues with local food and drink. So that's to come. Watch for that. And on May 11th, we're having a meeting with community groups that are going to be invited at the Hairston Library to basically let them know about all the ways that the Cultural Roundtable is there to support them and to look for ways that we can further support our groups in our community. So that's all I want to highlight today.
Any questions? Cultural group is really busy.
Sure. There's a lot of
Well,
minutes
and
there.
you'll see we took on 3 new committees last year under the Cultural Roundtable,
Yep.
hence all the extra minutes that are
Yep.
attached there.
Yes.
Yep, no, some great minutes. So anybody got anything else? Moved, have a mover? Councillor Elliott, Councillor Erickson, all in favor? Okay. Staff reports. The Deputy Mayor will take this over because he's. Oh, yeah,
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Under the staff report, our Chief Chris Harrell will report.
We just have the one report. This was pulled from your correspondence a little while ago, and I'm just reporting back on it. But actually, this Thursday, our MPP Randy Pettipies will be introducing legislation in the legislature called the Ray and Walter Act, named after the two firefighters that passed away in Listowel in 2011. And it's a legislation that is good and hopefully will help the fire service a lot. As you know, in that fire where we were there with North Perth fire, lightweight construction was the key contributor to those firefighters passing. So this is a good legislation. I had the opportunity to work with Mr. Pettipiece on the legislation from the beginning in his office, and it's being introduced. So we're going down with the North Perth Fire Chief to be there for the introduction and some of the debate and a reception afterwards. So the resolution on this is that council supports the legislation with Mr. Pettipiece, and we send a letter of support to Mr. Pettipiece for his, as he goes through the process of hopefully getting the legislation to pass.
Thank you, Chief. And I just want to reiterate that Chief Harrell was a great part of writing this legislation. And Chief, we appreciate your involvement and your skills and expertise in this matter. I know how tough that must have been. So thank you. So the recommendation, or is that a question? Question?
Yes, please.
Okay. Councilor Caldwell?
Through you, Deputy Mayor Faulkner. The place cards that would be put on the building, where would they be placed and what do they look like?
There is a picture actually in the legislation, but they're, I'd say, I can't remember, they're 6 inches, 6 by 6 or something like that. They're placed near the main entrance, somewhere near the main entrance. We'd work with the building owners to put them on just near the main entrance. It's visible. They're square, but the symbols on them have an R and an F on them for roof or floor, or an R and F to say that the roof is lightweight construction or the floor is made of lightweight construction, so that we know which one we're dealing with. And they're white and red, so they're, as I said, they're fairly inconspicuous, but they're just in a spot where we'll know to look for them when we go to a commercial or industrial property. So
I wish you luck with it. I think it's a wonderful legislation. I hope it goes through, and thank you for your input.
thanks.
Councilor Turton?
Thank you, Chair Faulkner. Chris, how many in Minto do we have? How many buildings like that? Is there quite a slew?
Honestly, I don't know. I'd have to turn to my cohort, our chief building official, but that's the problem with this legislation. We don't know. So smaller departments and the large city ones are the same way, that they have too many to be able to get out there and see them, and we just don't have enough staff to be able to go out there and see them. So I know, talking to Terry, there is quite a few, because that's the trend in construction now, is
newer construction?
In newer construction and some older ones. For example, residential, we just assume all residential of a certain vintage on is all lightweight construction, so we exercise extreme caution in there.
Mm-hmm. Terry, did you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I would say probably 90% of all single-family dwellings contain at least one of the two components of lightweight construction. Commercial industrial, we're probably looking 85 to 90%. So, like, it's a substantial amount of buildings.
Stickers.
It will be an excellent idea.
Okay. Thank you. So anything else? Any other questions? So the recommendation is that we support our MPP Randy Pettipiece and Chief Harrell for this legislation to be introduced in August. Somebody like to move that? Councilor Turton, Councilor Caldwell, all in favor? Declare the motion carried. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We are. There's the grist mill.
Yes, I was going to say the last meeting was the clerk's show. Well, welcome to the Economic Development Show. Alrighty, settle in. Okay, I'll try to go through these reports as
Yeah,
quickly
it's a little more interesting than clerks.
Yeah, he's pretty boring.
True. So this one is pretty straightforward. Each year, council grants $5,000 to each downtown rebate committee to do as they wish with public art, street furniture, Christmas lights, etc. This year is the Clifford Homecoming and the 150th anniversary of the Clifford Grist Mill. So the downtown committee has decided, or they've decided, and they've commissioned an 8x8 mural of the grist mill, as you can see there. So the image at the front was from about 1908, and the image at the back is more the mill before it was torn down. So this mural is going to be completed before July. It's going to be put up at the current feed mill site. There's a special event planned for July 1st there. Some of the people that used to own the mill are going to be there, and there's going to be activities. Anyway, after the homecoming, it will then be moved to the property at the lights. So if you know, Miller Insurance is on this side, and it has a mural. This is like opposite corner mural. So if you're driving north, then you'll see it if you're stopped at the lights. And thanks to Lisa and Ken Morris, Lisa Calzanetti and Ken Morris for allowing us to put the mural on there. And it falls within our budget. And that's for the creation of the mural and the installation. So we have to sign an agreement with them to do that.
Questions?
That's a great mural.
It's beautiful.
I think it just jumps
Oh,
out.
and Cliff Smith. Cliff Smith is the muralist.
I was going to say, yeah.
Cliff did the other mural.
He did the other one in Clifford,
Yes.
right? It's in Mount Forest, right?
Yes. Yes, he's done a lot in Wellington.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's great. Need a motion on that. Councilor Anderson, Councilor Dirksen, all in favor?
Next time.
Okay,
You always get together.
Okay.
I know.
the
I'll have to
JJ
separate
show.
them next time.
That's the way his head turned.
JJ. So we've been very busy with industrial land inquiries and sales of late. And Terry and I are always joking we're going to start a real estate agency here. So here's our second one in 2 weeks. Sean Wheel and Kira Wheel, owners of Inland Insulation, used to own, if you can see on that map, 104 Minto Road, so across Noble Road. That was purchased by MSW last year. And since that time, I've been working with Sean and Kira on finding an alternative solution to being still within the Palmerston Industrial Park. After going back and forth quite a few times looking at options, we came up with this one. Right now, this is known as 7C, and it actually wraps around Sarge equipment there. But we've talked to Triton Engineering, and we're looking at making a cul-de-sac, thanks Bill, at the edge of Noble Road and opening up some more lots there. And this would allow Inland Insulation to have access to this lot off of Minto Road. And their plan is to construct a 7,000 square foot building. About 2,500 square feet would be used for their mechanical and insulation business, and the remainder would be used as a rental space. So we're working with them on finding a tenant for that. So
Questions?
we just need to sign the agreement of purchase and sale on that one.
Need a mover and second, Bill? Councilor Elliott and Councilor Turton, all in favor? Great news, great news.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Next one.
Next up, another Palmerston Industrial Park land sale. This is kind of an interesting project for us. Mr. Ranjan was referred to us by the County of Wellington. He is looking for some property to start a shrimp hatchery. It's a really innovative business. It would be one of the first in Canada, and has some interesting requirements. Because of the breeding, he needs to have his own well. So we propose that he go on our unserviced parcels of land near the back, and when we do service that, he would be required to connect into those services, but he could still maintain his private well for the breeding portion of the shrimp.
I think it's because of the chlorine situation. They can't have chlorine.
And he has future plans outside of just the breeding component, so he has asked for first right of refusal. Is that on that? Yeah. On the surrounding acreage. For his expansion plans on that, which are about 2 years down the road.
That's a big chunk.
Yes.
2.07 hectares.
Hectares,
Hectares,
about
yeah.
5 acres.
5 acres.
5 acres, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So we just, again, need to sign the agreement of purchase and sale and move that
Questions
project
for
forward.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councilor Caldwell, all in favor? Great.
Just moving along here. Okay.
Mayor Bridge?
Yep.
Mr. Bowman
Is here.
today.
Yes, yes.
I'm not sure he wants to sit through everything,
Oh, yeah.
but I wonder if Belinda were to stay there, if Stacy or
Yeah.
Sylvia
Yeah,
wanted
sure.
to
Yeah, I was going
present
to.
his site plan, because the site plan's on for approval
Right.
today.
Good point, though.
You may want to stay for the whole thing. I don't know. Maybe 8 o'clock.
No, I know, but we'll be kind because we appreciate your investment.
Hello? Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Mr. Bowman owns Tricoat Wood Finishing, which was just on the map that Belinda showed there, just south of the proposed shrimp breeder. He currently has a approximately 6,000 square foot building on the property, and he's looking to put about a 10,000 square foot addition on, and that requires a site plan approval. So this is the site plan that was submitted showing the existing building, and then the hatched or diagonal lined area is the proposed addition. The proposal includes an extensive parking lot at the back, and the rear portion of his property would be remained unchanged. And then this way he wouldn't have to change the front flow in relation to the dock and that kind of thing. So we do have a few requests with the site plan approval. We need to have confirmation of the existing servicing on site. We know the size of the service, but we're not sure exactly of the elevations of the sewer in relation to the pumping station there. So what we understand is going on is there's a 4-inch line, and he's got a 2-inch force main and pumping out his sewage to that. So with our plans for future expansion in this area, we just want confirmation of that in order to make sure that our plans are all in place and the elevations work. Also, the proposal doesn't have confirmation of the size or location of the water surfacing as well, although there has been preliminary discussions with staff, and we're kind of aware of what's going on. Also, we would like some parking at the, I guess that would be the west portion of the property, or facing Minto Road, paved area at the front there, in front of the concrete dock, and to the right, I guess, in that plan. Just with consistency with the other requirements in the area. And also some landscaping at the rear. Basically tree planting. So,
Mayor Bridge, just to support the building inspector's report on that, we have met at length in Public Works on the water line, and I think we have a solution that will work there. This property is right on the edge of our municipal services, and you see all the activity in the industrial park. It will be sooner rather than later, and I don't know if we'll be able to wait beyond 2018, but the pumping station and water line extension on Minto Road is probably a very imminent project, and I think that would help both Mr. Bauman and the shrimp and other people out there. So we'll be working with our senior management group and Triton Engineering to come up with an overall plan for that entire area, because I think when we do that work, we want to expand the services out to other lands, perhaps. So I wanted to mention that, and also there's a 2-year time frame for him to finish his work. So he's allowed time if there's landscaping, paving, and that sort of thing to be done to do that. And last but not least, I did receive an application from Mr. Bowman that will go to Economic Development and Planning on Thursday for a small grant under our community improvement plan. Remember, we expanded our areas to include all our urban properties, and not only will he be creating employment here, but he will be improving municipal services and providing fire protection in his building. So it could qualify for this kind of grant, and so the Economic Development and Planning Committee will consider that next meeting. But he has to go to a little extra expense because our water line is not in front of there at this time. So I think that was the nature of his request that was coming.
And I just support that as well. I mean, I was able to be out there and with the whole crew, and appreciate, Andrew, your investment that you're putting into the property. And I can't remember. I think you told me how many employees you have, but
There's 20 there.
20 right now. And with this, we'll be able to expand and do a better. You're very busy, I'm told. You told me anyways. So. Anyways, this will be a way to work at it. And there's another advantage of expanding our CIP. This was sort of why we did it. We started off with the downtown, and we realized that it'd be nice to be able to go to other parts of the community, especially industrial park in this case. So I'm hoping that we'll get a green light when we go to the committee, but we'll be speaking to that at the committee and coming back to this council. But I'm really excited about this project. Again, it's another extension and of our industrial park. And the nice thing, it's a resident. Andrew, I don't know how long you've been there now. Built it. So you've been a long time resident of our industrial park. You're seeing a lot of changes and people coming and going. But and I see that we'll probably have to look at the sewer and water extension as we get more need to continue this development, because having employment lands is very important in an economic development scheme of things to keep our property, our town growing. So it's nice to be able to work and have a job in the community you're in. So looking forward to all this. Anybody else? Anything? Motion? Councillor Elliott, Councillor Anderson, all in favor? Very good.
Oh, that's okay.
So you're not going to go to the. We're going to do it at the end. Well, is there a bylaw here now?
Yeah, that's later. We can the bylaws.
Bylaws. All right.
Should be routine.
Should be routine. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep. So Communities in Bloom. So we were national champions in 2009, and to continue to call ourselves national champions, we still have to participate in the Circle of Excellence. And every 3 or 4 years, you have to be evaluated. The last time we were evaluated was in 2013 when I was away on mat leave. So Gordon and Mandy looked after the judges and took good care of them. And once again, we received a 5 Bloom rating. This year, the judges will be coming July 16th to the 18th. We don't know exactly when during that time they're arriving or leaving, but we will be putting an itinerary together for them to tour them around, and it will probably include a reception with council at some point. So please keep those dates on your radar to be involved with that. And then along with that is our Communities in Bloom organization. They like to have Communities in Bloom Week proclaimed by participating communities, and that would be the week of May 1st to 7th. And
That's when they'll be here.
the judges will be here July 16th to 18th. The Communities in Bloom Week would be proclaimed for May 1st to the 7th. Yeah, so just that's basically the report.
Any questions? You move it?
I'll second it.
Moving second by Councillor Turton. Just a quick comment. I think that it's we've got so many things since the last time they were here.
Yes.
I'm really excited to see what they think about all the stuff that's been going on. So
yes, we have a lot of, especially environmental environmental initiatives since the last time.
Will they be going through the communities or the gardens, the community gardens?
Yes, community gardens are a part of that, and yeah, there's 8 different categories. So Paul Judge is going to be helping me put together the community book that highlights each of those areas, and then we have to tour them and showcase those elements of the profile book.
So all in favor? I didn't vote. Okay. And moving right in, that works right in. Nice segue into our next
gardens.
one.
Yeah.
So
Thanks, Councillor Caldwell.
as you know, in 2014, we started the Hairston Community Gardens. The following year, we did the Clifford Gardens. There's 20 in Hairston, 10 in Clifford. The Hairston Gardens have had a waiting list, and Clifford has a few plots still available. We met, I guess, late last year with the Palmerston Evangelical Missionary Church. They expressed some interest in having a community garden on their property. So we have identified on the map an area there. It's about 30 by 60. We happen to have leftover fence from one of our public works shops, so it's a chain link fence. We can put around the perimeter, working with the church and their volunteers to help construct the beds. Paul is going to be doing a workshop the first week in May, so if people are looking to start plots, everything you need to know about that. What else are we doing? Yeah, it's basically we're starting the community gardens. We're looking for people to take them. It's $10 a year and a $20 key deposit, so it's very accessible for people. We're looking at a rain barrel right now. Instead of having a bunch of rain barrels, they're looking at a water tank, I guess, is what they're looking into right now instead of having the barrels. We've got composters. yeah, everything's coming into place basically. So we just need to sign an agreement with the church.
And I just want to add, it's been great working with the church, with Pastor Phil, and we're getting volunteers to build the units. We're going to do them in the curling club like we did in Harrison. So we have a lot of good back and forth and opportunities to work together to create something I think really beneficial for the community. And I really give them a lot of credit for doing that outreach for us. And
yeah, it's good.
It's nice to finish it off, and I'm really hoping for a success.
Mm-hmm.
Mover? Mayor Faulkner, Councilor Turton, all in favor?
Lovely. Thanks for enjoying the show.
Is that all you got, Linda? Okay, all for today. Hear that? There's a little bit of a hint of things to come. Christmas is to come. Okay, who's up next? Stacy again.
Oh, sorry.
Come on, Stacy.
Yeah.
Come on. I think we only give you so many minutes to get up here, and then you're
We're
moved to
voting
next.
no now.
You have to go to next. You have to go to next year. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay, so you guys are probably well aware this was coming. I think it was the 7th. We had a rezoning for this property on Webb Street. It was an application by Metzger, so this is the severance that we were expecting. Basically, my comments are pretty general, that we just rezoned the property R2 medium density residential. That appeal period has just passed. So in relation to the severance, it's our basic standard conditions here. There's nothing out of the ordinary. Financial considerations on behalf of the clerk's department, public works in relation to frontage fees and an entrance. Obviously, the general comment that building permit and development charges are required, and drainage plan as well, like we talked about in the zoning. So, without further ado,
Questions?
do you have any questions?
I think we've beat this
It's
one to
pretty
death.
straightforward, I think,
we've-
especially after the zoning.
Yeah, after the zoning. Okay, motion? Councilor
I'm sorry,
Collins?
can I just ask
Yep,
a question? In
Sure.
regards to the zoning, what is the timing on that?
The rezoning, the appeal period has already passed, so it's in
Oh.
place, yeah.
It is in place, okay.
Yes.
You want to move it?
Yes, certainly.
Oh, Councilor Anderson, all in favor? Working the ends now. Look at the ends. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll have to get you a tougher one.
Oh.
Oh, Bill, turn it over to you. See you.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge.
This is interesting.
We're moving into the Harrison Industrial Park now. It's kind of been on hiatus since 2014 when we started a class environmental assessment for 66 acres of lands in the industrial park. You can see them on your drawing there in light blue. The first chunk of 11 acres is in behind some commercial development, Stones and More and so forth. And on half those lots, we actually have temporary use to allow monster trucks. So next summer will be its second season of that.
Monster truck.
Monster truck, yes. And but we thought that was a good interim use because we don't have sewer and water out to that location. A Class EA is needed to set the road pattern and servicing design for the area in a general sense. And you'll recall we did have BM Ross working on this project, and they will be completing this work. We have brought in Triton Engineering to help us with going over the information that's come forward and bring back some solutions to some of the servicing issues. When I presented this to you in January 2015, it's probably one of your first few meetings, and in that meeting there were some fairly hefty price tags for servicing the area if because we were concerned about fire flows and because we would have to pump sewage to some of that area and so forth. And so you passed a resolution asking that we look back at that. Part of that was why it took a couple years to come back. The other reason was we had a lot of other priorities as far as infrastructure work, and so we're now getting to the point where we need to move forward with this and be ready for development that might occur out in our industrial park in Harrison. So attached to the report is a letter from BM Ross that will go out as a general circulation of the plan. I haven't brought back the detailed drawing for you, but if you look at the a light blue road layout. It's more or less as shown there. The cul-de-sac that's on the this parcel here, that's 2.7 acres, that probably would not be in the plan. It will likely go straight forward to the rail line, which we own there. So if you look on the drawing, there's a red and purple section. That is more or less where the gravity flow would end. So we're looking at servicing, I think in the 10-year period, somewhere around 20 to 30 acres of industrial. The land in the back, known as Phase 3, that would likely not be part of this Class EA. We're working with BM Ross to finalize where that boundary is, but we will need to spend some infrastructure dollars to move forward with this expansion in the future. So what we're seeking from you today is just general direction to move forward with the circulation and to give you an update on where we are with the servicing. Just to try and summarize what will happen if you go forward with this is, in order to get gravity flow to the area in the second phases, we will need to drop the sanitary sewer on John Street North. That's the section in front of Farm Fresh and Phoenix. That road is already in need of reconstruction, so we would drop the sanitary sewer on that street and we would put in a larger water main. That project alone, with the road and sewer work, is estimated to be around $1,920,000. So that would probably be the first link in that work to come. We're talking about this work over a 5 to 10 year period, not in next year's budget or anything like that. The second part of that would be a link with the water main only to John Street. So you would have I think it's an 8-inch line all the way from Hutchison down to Adelaide. We would not be opening that road in there, but we would have a water line going through there. This is all designed to improve firefighting capacity out in the new area. So that's the one major project that would have to be done. And the second major project, the actual expansion on the 11 acres, once that other one is done, we're looking at around $625,000 to service phase 1.
Oh yeah, right up here.
That's the 11 acres. That would give you roughly 10 lots. And these estimates include contingencies and so forth. So on the other hand, as the treasurer points out, if you don't do the work for 3 or 4 years, prices on this sort of thing aren't going down. So I think we've talked about, we now have funding in place where we need several $1-million projects. I think there's 2 or 3 of them here that over the next 10-year period the town could do to expand its industrial park. And then the last section, sorry,
let him finish.
Okay.
The last section, phase 3, would be around $810,000 to service another 20 or so acres up in phase 2. And so all told, we're looking around 2.2 million to do that. The price to do all of that work before was quite a bit more than that. That included a stormwater management pond. It included a water storage facility, as well as all the sewer and a pumping station, which we would have to maintain forever if the lands were to develop. So I think we're now narrowing down into something that's more affordable for the community over time. And the size of the EA and the lands that would be serviced is a realistic amount. I think 20 to 30 acres of industrial land in Harrison would probably last for quite a long period of time. Sorry.
No worries. No, that's excellent presentation. Just to clarify, CO White, where you said the gravity ended at that small triangle?
Yeah, roughly in the area. If you're looking at the map on the screen,
from the ponds, or from the
for this, actually the gravity for the sanitary sewer can actually extend back a little bit further into phase 3, but the pond itself would be at roughly where that purple section is, or the red line or the brown triangle are. All of that for stormwater drainage would go to the front, and then we might be able to get a little bit more on the back for the drainage of the.
But for sewer, would there be a pumping station involved in that then?
No, this would allow you to service without a pumping station.
That's why I was.
Yeah, so that would be
Thank
the
you.
boundary, yeah.
That's why the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions? No, Councillor Elliott.
Yeah, I just, seems like a lot of money. And we just talked about how much we're filling up at the Palmer's Industrial site. Is there, Linda, maybe you could help us with this, is there, do you feel over the next 5 years that we're going to need this kind of, in the town of Minto, or this kind of expansion, or?
We've talked about this at department heads before, and with the demand in Palmerston right now, there's a lot going on over there and we know there needs to be work done with the pumping station and extending services there. We would probably suggest finishing that work first, I would think, before doing this, but we still have lots of work to do with the engineers and stuff before I guess we finalize those plans.
So just finish where we're hot right now and then move into the next?
That seems to be where the demand is, so that's would be my thinking, is to finish servicing the Palmerston lots and look at that option and have this in our back pockets, I guess, but we need to figure it out, right? Like, this is an expensive project and it's doing the whole John Street work and there's a lot to consider, but initially I would think finish Palmerston Industrial Park off.
If I may, to add to Belinda's comments, it would be up to council to pick priorities.
Mm-hmm.
At where we are now, when we've had numerous discussions at a staff level, is that probably the pumping station that I mentioned, Palmerston, and expansion up Minto Road would be your first priority, and then we would begin to move into these other projects, probably with future councils. But it's important to have the EA in place so that it's there with a road pattern and a servicing approach that
That's right.
the next 2 terms of council can start to plan and do this work. So I think we're doing the preparatory work now, and the good news is we know it can be serviced. The size of the projects now is not out of the realm of affordable, especially when we have the CWWF fund, which has been committed to for 10 years. Like I said, if we had $10 million projects that we put in our priority list with this council and the next one, then we'll be ready to go each year with a project that the province can approve.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Bridge. I mean, when you back the bus up, really, Palmerston's going like crazy. Where 10, 12 years ago, it was not. And I mean, back then, the preparation that had to be finished, had to be started. Now it's being finished. I mean, this is a good thing. I mean, we really need to plan this because, it's going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is good. Even if it's just information for now.
And I think what CEO Bill has talked about is with this new program, with the 10-year commitment from the government for some funding, we have to be ready. We have to look at it as a possibility. I think from a County of Wellington standpoint, Belinda, there's very little land out there, what we call shovel-ready employment lands, and the county's looking at things that they may want to get into CIP and other things that we may want to get into too, because they realize, I mean, they get a big portion of the tax dollars as well. So if we don't have any land available, so we have to look. And we're one of the, lucky us, we're one of the ones, few, and later on you'll see a report on I see we got our sewer and water experts here to talk about the fact in Palmerston we have increased our capacity there, and it continues to do well on that. So it's important for both projects to have a look-see, and it's always tough when you're the council that's having to do the hard slugging for other councils to get the rewards. But we wouldn't have got the rewards in Palmerston without some hard slugging from previous councils that laid some of the groundwork for us and had the foresight to get that land, and even in Harrison to take that industrial land and put it aside. So got to give our previous councils a lot of credit for the going out there. I'm sure at a time when dollars were tight, that they took it upon themselves to create that land, and that's why we're prospering today. So just a little word there. We need somebody to somebody move that report. Councillor Elliott, Councillor Turton, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, next up, Bill. You're still up.
Yes, Mayor Bridge. frankly, this was an item, a land acquisition item we had in closed last meeting. We've just brought it out into the open for council to look at. We have an agreement of purchase and sale with Sherry and Dennis Kaufman for the vacant parcel at the corner of Allen Street and Elora Street in Clifford. There's a parking lot layout that's been done on that location, and we're looking to acquire that for parking purposes during the Clifford Elora Street reconstruction, which is scheduled to begin in 2017, but the heavy lifting or the road closures will be in 2018. And we feel like the way the project will be phased, we'll do from Allen to Park Street probably in one phase, and from Allen out to James, second phase, and you'll always be able to get to this parking area to get to some of the businesses in the downtown area. So not only will it be useful during the reconstruction, it is a parcel that the town had its eye on in the past as an important public open space. And you can see a drawing that was done by Stempsky Kelly years ago about what might happen on there, as well as a picture of the old mansion house. Some of you may have frequented it years ago.
And I just want to point out that's not Ron Faulkner out front looking in.
No, I'm on the balcony.
He's on the balcony.
So we did some test excavation on the property, and lucky, I guess, or not, there's still lots of elements of the mansion house still on the property.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in terms of it being redeveloped, there would be a considerable amount of fill to come out of there. So I don't want to lead council to believe that your $36,000 purchase gets you a building lot. It probably is not without an environmental work and removing a lot of fill. But what it will do is function as an excellent parking lot and will be useful for homecoming, assuming we can close it here in the next few weeks. But I know that people saw us excavating on the property because they're all asking what's going on. So here it is in open, and our recommendation is that you sign the agreement and pass a bylaw to let us close this transaction.
So,
Question.
question? Go ahead.
I was just curious about how much of a problem is there with leaving shades of the mansion in the ground? Like, we're not putting a building on it. It's for parking lot. Would that not be a good base?
If I may, it can be a good base. I know we had in the parking lot in Palmerston beside the variety store, Jay's, we had a lot of problems with settlement and so forth. So we don't believe we'll have that same problem here. So yeah, it can be a good base. We don't think there's anything other than ash from the fire but over time that will settle and so forth. So we have to be careful with that. But the excavation is such that the engineers are saying it should be fine for parking and open space.
Did you want to move? You want to second it, Jim?
I'd be happy to do that. Sure.
Thank you. And I just one comment. I it was really nice dealing with Dennis and his daughter on this, and because we were back and forth, and sometimes when you're dealing with this kind of thing, we knew that the mansion was there. They didn't mind us going in, digging a couple holes, and cooperated with us throughout the process, and worked together on working out a price. So I think they really see this as a benefit to the community, and they were never going to develop it because they bought it when they bought the house over here, and it was just part of what they had to buy to do the house. So it was one of those rare occasions where we got a great opportunity, and I appreciate the council backing us on this one because I think this is going to be a good plus. Well, can I have a vote on it? All in favor? Yeah. And good work by the staff on this, by the way, Bill, too. You guys did a good job of it.
Our economic development manager brought forward this initiative.
Yeah. That's from when going out to those little meetings we have out there. Sometimes we get a little tidbit of knowledge, don't we? Mm-hmm. And we've just brought it forward and it worked. Good work.
We're moving.
Speaking of tidbits, Mayor Bridge, I have a little.
Oh, that was well done.
What a lead in.
into the waste management. We got waste management here today. Oh, we don't. Sewer. Go ahead.
Quinn Forder and the clerk's department did some research as a result of Councillor Elliott raising this. We've come up with some ideas. First of all, we do have a bylaw and we can enforce that against people who do not pick up after their dogs, and it is a $200 fine. Either an OPP officer or our bylaw officers can do that. We generally have to witness the act, so it's not the easiest thing to try and enforce. But it is there, and I think just to use this as an opportunity to make people aware that they need to clean up after their pets. But could we do more to facilitate that activity? There's a couple of sample dog waste areas which would have bags and awareness information and so forth that you might get a local vet or a local grocery store or someone to sponsor that could go in, including maintenance. They might be, I think there was a figure of a couple $1,000 by the time you buy them, install them, and put bags in them each year. So at the risk of not having a lot of time to talk to our facilities manager who is away on vacation, we're asking that this report go to PRAC so they can look at it in detail as to whether they feel like these would be a good idea for our parks, and if so, maybe a test program in, say, Palmerston Lions Park or somewhere else. So it's just some options for you to consider, and just want to say Quinn did a great job researching that on our behalf.
Somebody move
To defer?
to defer. Councillor Elliott, Deputy Mayor Faulkner, all in favor? So that's just going to go to PRAC, Ron, and you can bring it back. Some recommendation. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to the treasurer. Something about a budget or something we got going on here. I don't know what that's all about.
The Treasury Department is
And,
very happy
Councillor Caldwell, you want to take that over?
to present 6 months of work by our department heads and staff and council, and the long-awaited budget impacts, and then the passing of the budget.
Great.
So, Treasurer Duff?
All right. Thank you, Chair Caldwell. Better get some authority to spend all this money that we're talking about here. So anyway, we have to do a little housekeeping one first, which I'm required to do, which is this Regulation 28409. And that's basically a requirement that I bring to your attention that we are not budgeting for certain things that are under the Public Sector Accounting Board guidelines that our statements follow, and the biggest of them is amortization. So again, in the old days, we used to buy a capital asset and expense it, and that's still the way we budget. However, on our statements, we set it up and we amortize it. So that is around $2.7 million, and we've often said that's kind of the floor of our capital spending, and we're usually jumping near the ceiling on that one because we exceed that quite regularly these days anyway. There's also such things as post-employment benefits and that. And at the county level, they have responsibility for the landfill. So we have other, if you like, contaminated assets. And you may remember in the last statements, we did a review, and actually I did it with our building inspector, and we looked at all our municipal properties. We didn't find any that met the criteria for contaminated sites, but that's the kind of thing that you're looking at too. And there's new rules coming down in a few years on those type of contingent liabilities, I would call them too, and recognition. But basically what we're saying is we're approving a cash budget, but the statements are still accrual and under PSAB rules. So anyway, you just have to be aware of that.
Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Mayor Bridge.
Just the one on, and Gord, great benefit us not having our landfill anymore.
Oh yeah, that's
Because
a liability.
that is a major liability for the county. So I know some people say, oh, we never should have sold the dump and whatever, but that was a big win for us. We didn't really get any, I don't know what kind of money we got for it, but
A buck.
Yeah.
well, you know what? It was well worth it, Judy, if you were involved in that transaction.
Yeah.
Because the liability for landfills is they're constantly looking at leaching and making sure that it doesn't leach out and all the other stuff. So it's not just you fill it up, cap it.
Yeah.
You got to keep monitoring it. You got to make sure that you've got problems. So that is an expense that the county takes on. Thank goodness.
Yeah, and look at all the upgrades that have been done in the last few years.
Okay, then the recommendation is the council receives and approves The report dated March 22nd, 2017 from the treasurer regarding budget impact per regulation 284-09. May I have someone move that? Mayor Bridge, seconded by Councillor Dirksen. All in favor? And the motion is passed. And then the all-important.
The adoption of the budget. So again, we've had our public consultations, we've had our open budget meetings, we've had it on our website, and I think we've had a very good internal and external discussion of things this year. We've decided to move forward with a small amount of borrowing, and as I've said, I guess probably since last September, and I guess I'm still saying it, this is predicated on that clean water wastewater fund. So if we're not successful, we will be back, and we'll have to make some changes here, not to the overall tax levy, but how we spend it. So I guess we're almost into our 8th month for waiting on that one, and I know we're not alone too, but that's the important one that the CEO was talking about with regard to the Harrison Industrial Park, because it's a really good program. I hope we can get it, because if we spend $1 million on water, wastewater, we get $750. So that $3 million in projects could end up costing us $750. So as a reminder, for us, it's a George Street project, which is Arthur to the arena there, and that's almost a quarter of our capital budget. So my usual cautionary things, there's ratios that are determined by the upper tier, which is, I know the mayor's going to laugh, but I have to mention it, I guess. So it could.
Gord, you're the most cautious treasurer we have out in the county.
There you go. Yeah. So it could change things when we redo the figures. It's going to be very close to what we've got here. And the other is education. And this is similar to last year. We didn't find out till the end of April. But again, I remind you, we've just had a major reassessment. So I have no feeling we prepared our estimates assuming they're the same. They could go up, they could go down. We don't know, and it's based on a regional evaluation of the province too. So far, the last few have been very much in our favor, as assessment has tilted to the GTA, Ottawa, even Northern Ontario there. So anyway, I guess bottom line, approximately, we're talking about a $60 combined increase for the average house. And that's estimated a $215,000 assessment. And it's tough to find the mythical house, but that's what we're looking at. And again, our overall is very much in projection with the objectives that we started out back in October and November.
So, through you, so $65 combined, you say?
Combined.
So that's our taxes.
Our taxes, the county and education.
And education, if education comes in at least equal.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the number. I think that's the number that people want to see. I mean, and I kind of, as you say, there's been percentages given out that are totally not right out there now, probably because things have changed and everything else. But you have to have something, and I think people want to see what the dollar effect is.
That's right.
Appreciate that.
Especially this year, your change in assessment is going to drive your change in your property much more than what we're doing at this table.
Thank you, Chair Colwell. I have a media release for friends in the media that is in part prepared, but I neglected to complete it. So I will be emailing that out to you after the council meeting. So my apologies for that. But I just wanted to thank the treasurer for his work and all the department heads, I think, and council for being available at the public open house. We had 7 people attend, which is excellent. But I do like that format because they can go to whoever they want to go to and talk about whatever they want to talk about. And also to your openness as far as budget, because you can watch our budget meetings, you can get our full budget package. Everything that council sees for the budget is online for everyone to see. So, and congratulate you on what is a very reasonable amount. We don't always like to increase, but you're starting to get down to 1.2% for our share on the tax. I think that's pretty reasonable.
And I mean, I say this every year, and I apologize for repeating myself, but I just want to thank so much CAO White, Treasurer Duff, the department heads, and all the staff that are responsible for this budget. I just want to real quickly go through the process that we go through setting the budget, because it isn't just the last couple of months' work. The department heads start last fall, and they meet with Treasurer Duff and set their own budgets. I imagine they set a preliminary one. It's cut probably 4 times by the time it's a final budget at that point. Then the Finance Committee, which is made up of Mayor Bridge, CAO White, Treasurer Duff, and myself meet before it's presented to Council for any questions or concerns. The operating budget is presented to Council, and then the same process starts all over again with the capital budget. And we go through the meetings, and that's presented to Council. Then we have the open house, and finally today it is presented to be passed. But the big thing is that this staff has always presented us with a very easy to read and reasonable budget. We're not starting at a 10% increase and having to knock it down to a reasonable rate. By the time we see it for the first time, we're there to review it, to ask questions, and there might be 1 or 2 things that change, but for the most part, it is a completed budget, and that is because of this staff. And I just want to give, on behalf of the council, our heartfelt thanks for all the work they do to present us with such a budget that we feel comfortable passing at this meeting. So, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chair Caldwell. It's good to be collaborative.
Can I add one comment? Having Mary Lou on the committee, the three of it's really, I'm sure it helps all of you. And she brings a lot of insight with her controller background, let me just say that, controller background, and knowing that she's gone through a lot of budgets over the years, myself included, but it is amazing. And the nice thing about it is this council, they set the priorities so the staff know their priorities are on capital projects going forward, and we have a 5-year plan, and we keep moving it forward. And when we first came in 6 years ago, and I saw that first 5-year capital plan and realized we couldn't do anything, we kept moving it, and it wasn't because of not wanting to, and previous councils wanting to, but we had no money to try to figure out how we're going to do it. So I think it's been good, and I have to now give credit to the province and the feds for what they've come through with infrastructure lately, and the fact that over the years, like Connecting Links is back, a few other things are back. We talked about it today at another meeting I had, that we got an opportunity for another thing that we went and presented. So they are listening. I got to give them credit for it, and they know that we have that infrastructure, and it takes a long time, but at this, we're already moving ahead with the idea that we've really done a lot of work on this budget. So I appreciate that it's done now. And as I say, you're very cautious, and
there we are.
Nobody's going to hold you at $65, although I might.
You'll be wanting.
But as close as we can get for the public to know, and I'll be going out on the mayor's breakfast circuit, and this will be one of the things we'll be talking about.
I mean,
any questions?
I think without being, too much, it's democracy in action, and this is a good example of it working.
Thanks very much.
And I just want to reiterate, without the federal and provincial grants and support, we would not be able to do a $6 million budget. We don't have the funds, and we truly appreciate it. And hope it continues. So is there any other questions or comments before we make the motion? Then the recommendation is that the Council of the Town of Minto accepts the Treasurer's report dated March 22nd, 2017, and considers the passage of the related budget bylaw in regular session. I have someone, Mayor Bridge, seconded by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. All in favor? And the motion is passed. And our final item, which is just as much fun, is the approval of accounts.
I just blew a whole $2 million. This one down.
$2 million,
You can always tell tax month.
I think I warned you it'd be a big one. So as you know, we're the banker for the efforts here in the school board. So we've had a lot of people sending us money, and a lot of it, unfortunately, just kind of goes through our hands. And about 1.9 million actually goes out to the county and school boards, and that's due on the 31st of March. So we had to pay that. We've also paid our Maitland Valley levy, and that's about 95,000. And one project that I guess we're reluctantly looking forward to being completed is the rehabilitation of the Whites Rail Bridge. And so we're kind of putting out some money, but we'll get a lot of that reimbursed by our insurance. So we've had a $32,000 expense on that one. And we're still doing a bit of tree trimming. It hasn't been the worst winter, so we've been able to do some signage work and road work. So Public Works has spent about $10,000 on that. So those are the highlights.
And before I read the recommendation, Mayor, Treasurer Duff, could you just reiterate the town share of the budget dollar?
It's approximately 38%. Now, again, depending on what happens with education rates, in the past few years, the county has been relatively steady, but the school board has dropped, and so the lower tier, Minto, has been able to increase its share, because it was more like 33%. We've been 38, 39, and the school board's dropped from maybe 21 to 15, 16 or so. So, and the county's being, 40, 44. And that, as you'll be well aware, it changes a lot with each lower tier.
And just on that, through you, Chair Caldwell, the county is realizing that we don't do a good job of saying where our money goes in the county. So at our next tax bills, because we collect it, we've just passed at the last county council meeting a little flyer that's going to go out and really explain in dollars and cents, like so much to roads, so much to waste management, so that, because we're all one taxpayer, so even though that we get to keep this much money, if the county wasn't there doing the policing and, as I said, the landfill and all the other things, that's where that money goes. But we have to do a better job of telling everybody where the money goes. So that little flyer is coming out, and it's I think it's a good piece, and that'll be going out with our bills in August.
Yes.
Yeah.
Early
So people will
September.
see that, and then that'll be an ongoing thing. And it's, I think.
Good idea. Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Then the recommendation is the Council of the Town of Minto receives the Treasurer's report dated March 31st, 2017, regarding approval of accounts, and approves the Town of Minto accounts by department for February and March 2017. May I have someone make that motion, please? Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Curtin. All in favor? And the motion is passed. And I hand the
Great,
chair
thank
back to
The GGs have been.
Mayor Bridge. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Caldwell. And we're into municipal drains.
Look at the tan on this guy.
Oh, this goes to David. It didn't say Public Works. This is drainage.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge.
I'll let you take it over, David.
Thank you. We have 5 items on the Public Works agenda
For
today, but we'll try and move them along quickly. The first one is a municipal drain petition, and I'll ask our drainage superintendent, Mike McIsaac, to get right into this.
We have received another municipal drain petition from a local resident at the corner of the Minto Normanby Town Line and County Road 3 there. Over the years, the yellow circled area has been used for overland flows in this area. And over the years, with different crop usage and stuff, it's starting to back up and is not currently maintained under the Drainage Act. The red area, circled area, is approximately the lands that are affected right now. And we've received this request from this property owner to move forward.
Questions? So the hearing none, the recommendation is that the Council of the Town of Minto receives this report from the roads foreman, our drainage superintendent, regarding the municipal drain petition under Section 4 of the Drainage Act, and appoints Dietrich Engineering Limited to represent the town's interest in this regard. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mayor Bridge, Deputy Mayor Faulkner, all in favor of this motion? Against? That's carried. Number 2 item is we're going to go over a 2016 Public Works review. And who's going to lead us here?
Well, thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair, it would be myself to start, and then if all three of the
You gentlemen want to come up to the front here?
we just have to change over the camera so that the public can see the
All three of them.
That doesn't look good.
Matt, where's Matt?
This report's going downhill really quick.
Yeah, he's Matt. My
It's
God.
okay, you guys. We'll get through it.
Hey, Matt, he's still here.
Could be.
He guy.
Not 5 o'clock yet.
Okay, so
So just wave nice.
this is interesting.
Here you have it, Bill.
Here we
There you.
No, I was wanting to show it to the viewing audience by changing the cameras, but it doesn't look like it's going to let me do that.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's too bad.
So I will start out, and we have our very capable managers here to give the real details of the information. But I wanted to speak a little bit about the Public Works Department, which I've had the pleasure of working with very closely more recently with the departure of our director, and we did issue a media release on that, and so we're moving forward from here with this report. And just wanted to take council back to 2010 when we did, slightly before my arrival, restructure the department, and we have the three main areas: roads and drainage, managed by Mike McIsaac; water, managed by Wayne Metzger; and wastewater by Mark Robertson. Mark kind of came on in midway through the last 5 years to take on the wastewater function, but the real structure of the department kind of came forward starting in 2010. And if you look on the screen, you can see how the new structure will work. We'll be going without a director position for the time being, and probably into next year, I would think, depending on how things work out. But we've set up a system where we have regular Monday morning meetings as a group of 4, and then the whole departmental meeting is on Wednesdays. So the chair of the Public Works also attends some of those meetings. So you can see the very capable people in the various positions and all their names. Basically, if you were either named Mike or Paul,
God,
you had a pretty good chance of getting a job with Public Works. But so we lead the league in Mikes. Anyway, there they are, and they're a great group to work with. I mean, they always have been. And back in 2015, you'll recall we took on the sewage plant operation. So we always had our collection system, and the sewer lines and the water lines were our responsibility. The plants were contracted out to Center Wellington, and Mark actually cut his teeth with Center Wellington for a year or two, and learned his trade and position and upgraded his qualifications. So now he's running all our wastewater plants and is responsible for the collection system. And we all know that Wayne has been doing the water side for a long time, and Mike does the roads and drainage system. So I mentioned the cross-departmental meetings that we've had. They do minutes and they track their actions weekly, so it's come a long way in the last 5-6 years, where a lot of the work flows out through the managers out to the staff, and I like the way that works, and I think it served our community well. In 2014, we did do a surplus equipment sale, which you wouldn't think was a big deal, but it got us out of a couple of businesses we were in with some expensive maintenance. So we had street sweepers and a bucket truck that went, and we put the $40,000 that we made out of those sales into our reserve for equipment. Well, it doesn't take long to spend that. It did get us out of some maintenance and operating expenses that we had. So again, streamlining our work, using consultants contractors where we need them. We mentioned that taking over the sewage plant operations in 2015, and that $294,000 that was being paid to Center Wellington, we netted two new staff out of that. Just a word, some of the municipalities around here are doing organizational reviews. There's probably one you know of. Talked a lot about per capita staffing and per capita costs, and didn't really account for the fact that we do, as a municipality, take care of our own water and wastewater plants. That was a conscious decision of this council going back before 2010, that was the way we wanted to head. And it is a system that works for us, but if you go staff per capita and so forth, Ours does measure out a little high because we do have water and sewer staff in-house. But the beauty of that is they're all cross-trained pretty much, so they can move between water and sewer to some degree, and they all support each other in that way. And that's one of the things that I like about the department is how they work as a group of three together very well. We did the conversion of streetlights in 2015 to LED, and we did see quite a savings out of that, but that also got us out of a little bit of work, although Wayne still, as our electrical expert, has to deal with that to some degree as well. We've done 27 million in capital work since 2010, 2011, and now we're moving into a mechanized system. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background on where the department has come over the last 5-6 years, and then turn it over to the group to do their own presentations, because they got into a lot of interesting things last year.
It looks like.
Looks like Mike wants to stand up. Do you, Mike? Oh, okay.
No, I'm good. These first slides are the accessibility renovations that we did to our office out front here. These are just some of the sidewalk replacements and repairs that we've done in the different communities. This was on the 12th line, so the picture on the left is actually the water source that's feeding the drain in the middle, and which then turns into the picture on the far right, which did quite a bit of damage on the 12th line, which still needs to be completed next year. This was the result of a liquid nitrogen spill that happened last summer. We had to excavate and replace this large area of yard. This is our Jane and Inkerman Street project that's going to be starting up again here within the next week or 2 weeks, hopefully. This is the relocation of the rail trail system in Clifford. This is actually a drain which we kind of repaired to alleviate some of the water pressures in some low-lying areas in Clifford last year, which was a residential concern up there. This is just some asphalt repair work that we were getting ready to do. This is the picture on the left would be the 6th line when it was getting repaved last year, and then a couple more pictures of the asphalt repairs that our crews do as well. This is our annual roadside brushing out in the township. I believe this is out on School Road 7 in one of the forested areas. Just some more tree cleanup. This would have been, I believe the picture on the bottom was after one of the storms that blew through, and then the other one on the right's just the regular maintenance. And then this is that event that happened last year.
Yeah. Over to Mark.
Yeah, Mark, go ahead, please.
This bad boy
Thank you.
on. Yep. Okay, so we'll start in Palmerston. Most of these are just operational works that we completed at the treatment plants and in the collection systems. This is at the Palmerston plant, the raw screen. So in the inlet needed some serious repairs. The Palmerston plant, we had the clarifier gearbox main bearing failure. We had all of the electrical on the MCCs and everything thermal imaged to see if there was any electrical issues, and there were none. We had a aerator rotor failure at the Palmerston plant. Sludge. Oh, yep. Next slide. That's the aerator rotor that failed. We had to get
Big unit.
Yeah, we had to get
It is a big unit.
A crane in to remove it. And then this is the sludge storage at the Palmerston plant. The aeration system in it needed some repair work done. And the clarifier roof had a structural repair that was required on it. We completed that in the summer. We did a full plant inventory.
Found a fish?
Found a
Yeah,
fish?
Yeah, that was during a high flow event.
Oh.
We
Came
actually
right
had a fish migrate back up through the UB channel.
Did it really?
Or so was claimed.
So it was claimed. I got that text to me somewhere, and I went, really?
I did too.
Yeah.
Never know for sure, Mark.
No.
Yeah.
Urban legend.
Urban legend. Fish in the sewer plant.
We had a significant amount of camera work done in the collection system in Palmerston by Foster Sewer Services. Moving along to Harrison, we completed a manhole inspection and put it onto an electronic version with pictures and everything like that. So moving forward, it'll be easier to track. Did some inventory in the Harrison parts room. The aeration system at the Harrison Lagoon was repaired. Cells 1 and 3. We had some lines that floated up and we had to put some weights on them to get them back down to the bottom. And we also did the pilot project, which you guys are aware of, at the Harrison Lagoon. It wasn't as successful as we had hoped. We're currently working on a new ECA for the Harrison Lagoon. We replaced 3 blowers at the Harrison Lagoon. Wellingdale Construction is currently working on handing over the ownership for the Lawrence Street sewage pumping station. Had some other work at the Harrison Lagoon, replacing valves and on the electrical, making sure it was up to snuff. Robertson Street pumping station, we replaced some check valves there. William Street, we had to replace a main pump. It had a catastrophic failure. And we installed our fence at the Harrison Lagoon to keep our geese in.
That picture's very
How'd
accurate.
that work?
That picture's actually very accurute. It's about how it worked.
Yeah.
That'd be the geese flying over it?
Yeah.
How many geese did you mark?
No.
The little ones you kept out.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice the Minto.
Oh, I see.
We did some sampling in the collection system, just identifying some areas where we have some high strength sewage being discharged.
Interesting picture.
The red stuff, is that the high?
High strength.
High strength?
Fluid?
That's not a fishing
That's
pole.
bright red?
No. We got some sludge mapping done at the Harrison Lagoon. We've had previous problems there, so we decided that we'd start monitoring that now, and then moving forward we can see how much is accumulating each year.
And Mark, is to you?
Yeah, go ahead, Mayor
Is
Bridge.
it, how's it? Is it looking not too bad, or?
Yep, not too bad at all. There's very little accumulation. So it's
Can you use Terry's special little pipe?
No, I think you better bigger pole for that.
So moving along to Clifford, we had an MOE inspection there this past year, which resulted in a new ECA. We had a bunch of stuff that came out of that we had to do, which it was no problem, and it's all done. We repaired the Clifford Lagoon aeration and filter beds, and the raw inlet basket in Clifford. So, and then we had numerous storm and collection system repairs through the system. And we got a new service truck.
Go ahead.
Thank you,
Partner?
Councillor. So I see replacement valves and whatnot, and the system is in decent shape, or are we looking at some major repairs in the future to make sure it's okay? Or
we'll have ongoing maintenance in all.
Of course.
This is just ongoing maintenance stuff. I think that's more of a capacity issue right now. But as far as the plants are concerned, currently we're okay, but we need to plan going forward.
Perfect.
Any other questions? I've got one question. Mark, when we're doing the sludge mapping or the mapping, who's doing that and how accurate is it?
That was Bishop Water Technologies that we contracted to do that.
Where are they from?
I want to say Aurelia, Barrie area.
Obviously, that's what they do it for a living, because I'm just pointing that out because the last time back a number of years ago when we did dredge, our measuring was inaccurate.
Right.
And when we got the water out, it was 4 times as much sludge as we anticipated, and it took the price from $300,000 or $400,000 to $1.2 million. And it was, I think it's important to get in accurate information, and I'm glad we are. Get somebody that does that for a living is a good idea. Any other questions for Mark? Wayne, do you want to go ahead? At your service?
Sure, at your service.
Is that a new slogan?
Well, I just found out that I guess it is.
Oh, you didn't know you were that good.
But I'm sure any 3 of us will step up
That's
and
why
play
we're
it at any
marketing you
time.
now.
Anyways, here's a picture of the new truck with Todd there that we making use of it, and that's at 22 Clark Street, just to show you that main breaks and leaks aren't really typical. The leak was actually behind that tree closer to the water tower. So, you have to get a special excavator in there and go back and repair it. So when we get rid of some of this backlot construction, as we are in Clifford, we'll get away from this type of thing. But you can see the amount of spring cleanup that we're going to have just on this one here, just to restore this gentleman's property back to the way it was. They want some pictures, so there's just to me. We do a check of our heat tracer cables to the water towers, which is the pipe that goes up to keep it from freezing. So I just do an amp check to make sure everything's working. So I thought I would get myself in one photo here. Last year we had covered water towers. So for those that don't know what happens when a water tower is out, we continually pump. And we have 2 of these set up, and this is just where it releases water. If the pressure gets too high, then this will blow off. So that way it doesn't overpressurize the system. So that's Clarky at his finest. He's doing some work in at our annual or the weekly checks and daily checks in at well 3 in Clifford there. So this here is a picture of well 2 upgrades. This used to be a turbine pump, and now as you can see it's a submersible. So there's no motor on top now, and it's got a submersible motor in there. And this is Todd. He was snapped him while he was just coming out of doing our maintenance in there at well 2. And this one here is actually well 2 also. This is just Well Initiatives who had that contract for doing the work at that upgrades in Harrison. And this is Mike and Todd building that shelving that Mark had mentioned earlier for sewer inventory. So take it out some more and add that. This is just to show the tie-in that they made here, at the end of the project for last year for Increment and James Street, and then that will start from there again and start again for this season. And that that's actually that same picture before where they had to dig down, cap that, abandon that section of main, and then use that pipe for feeding the new main, flushing and all that stuff. We had our skate upgrades last year, which gives us another backup computer. If the one goes down in Palmerston, we store it there. It gives us some better data record keeping and trending and reporting that we can do now with the upgrades that we got. So better for getting reports out to the ministry and like that. This is Connor. We have a a 4-week cycle, so every town gets recycle and do maintenance for all the pump houses. So which really cuts down on our after hours call outs because we do proactive maintenance on all these. Every 4 weeks we go into each town and get it done. So
Is that a result of DWQMS?
part of it is, but we found that we were also finding that that some of the call outs you were getting a lot more. So we're finding by doing a town each week, it just all that stuff you're looking for, or cleaning the poppet valves, because they're just little wee valves in there. Get them out, clean them up, put them back in, and then they seem to last a month very easily for the most of it. So it's just saved us a lot of time and effort for call-outs later. That's good.
Great.
This is just on York Street where they put that sanitary and the water line in there to 120 York for the Sinclair development that's going on in there for this year. So this is what was done last year to get the servicing into that location. This is out at Minto Pines, just Todd and Zishan just going through the last of the skate upgrades out there, making sure everything was right. So I caught a picture of the guys while they were on their last day over there. We had 2 light poles in Palmerston that got damaged. So this is just us making use of our back trailer and just getting it ready for the new poles to go in. So give you an idea that how it works there, and that we are making use of it. You can see where the other pole is still broke off down in there, where the base where those conduits are. So, and that was, we don't have that many modern breaks anymore, but this was on Derby. So just give you an idea of the importance of us to get to a break and get it fixed. As you can see, the amount of water that can come out of a break at one given time. So give the boys credit. I was not around when they did that one, so they did a good job at getting that one back into service. And the IPM, obviously this is us working in conjunction with Brightwater. They're supplying water to the IPM for the plowing that's there. And just a little picture of Connor and Clark there. They were doing a little decorating for the Christmas parade.
At least we were on it.
Questions? Mayor Bridge.
Just a comment, and this is great to have, because I don't think people understand and how much infrastructure we have out there and all the stuff that goes on. We see our trucks going here and there and to there, and I know I get calls and well, why is that truck going past this other truck? But some of the trucks are doing road stuff for Mike, and some of them are totally water and sewer, you guys, and so it's good to get this out to the public so they can see it. Well, they can't see it, I guess, Bill, but the fact that we've got a lot of infrastructure out there and a lot of repair work, and just keeping regular maintenance is a big issue. And good plan. Mark, I really think bringing it in-house, I don't know how you feel now, you've been here for a little bit of time, but that was a process that started a long time ago to get it in-house. But I feel we have a better handle on the fact that we do preventive maintenance. But even like Wayne talked about, doing that little bit of maintenance so we don't have call-outs. So I think it's great, and keep up the good work on that.
Absolutely, we're definitely seeing some improvements.
Belinda.
The guys forgot to put up a bunch of pictures of banners and flowers and signs, and they don't get thanks a lot in the public, but I want to thank them for when they see me coming, they don't run. Mike helping out with our entrance signs, helping locate those, and Wayne and all of our street light issues with the trees that we had, and none of that's their fault. It's for people that don't know, when it's wet, the surge protectors make the Christmas lights on the trees turn off, and so that's not anyone's fault. That just is how it rolls. So I want to just make sure that they realize how much we as staff and our downtown revite committees appreciate what they do in terms of making the town look pretty too.
Thanks, Belinda.
Any other questions?
Just a comment. Was a little bit of dialogue about trucks and so forth, but the truck that we have with the Public Works Director is a shared truck. And so I just wanted to let everyone know that we're not surplus trucks, we were sharing trucks, and the idea that everyone has their own truck is not a true idea. So we're still continuing to share the vehicles. So I think we did a good job of streamlining our equipment that way and making sure it's used efficiently. So we're not surplus a truck now.
Yeah, so on behalf of council, you guys, would like you to take it back to the guys that this council really appreciates what you're doing for us. And I know that since on the retirement of Brian, why, likely the task's going to get bigger. It's really easy to stand back as a ratepayer, and I'm a ratepayer, to stand back and be critical about it's too easy. But this is a good news story here. You're telling everybody exactly what you have been doing. Whether we get too many trucks or not, we're doing a great job with our infrastructure. And that needs to be told. So, and I know the task isn't going to be easy over the next few months, but we certainly have a good leader in our CAO, Bill. And don't be afraid to ask any of us for support on anything that you're doing. So, thank you for that. Are we the motion to receive this report? Councillor Elliott, Councillor Anderson, all in favor of this report? Against? That's carried. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Next item. You guys can stay if you want, Wayne. Mark? Okay. So next we have a report from our roads foreman on our hard top maintenance. Go ahead whenever you're ready, Mike.
Okay, thanks. This report's just basically laying out different options for our hardtop resurfacing operating budget. We've come up with 3 different options that we can use those funds for, and they are mill and pave roughly 20 to 25 blocks in the different urban areas. Then another option would be sand pad and resurface the 16th line, which we did that culvert repair, or actually a new culvert, basically on the 16th line there a few years ago. And along with that, we could probably do 5 to 6 blocks of mill and pave in the urban centers as well. And then a third option would be to sand pad and resurface the blind line, as well as a section of the 8th line from County Road 109 up to at least the Road 3 North.
Side Road 3?
Road 3 North. Road 3 North. That's the
Oh.
the gravel road just past the blind line.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any
questions?
Mr. Chair, we're going to ask you to pick.
So,
Yes, so
yeah, I was going to say.
Councillor Dirksen, go ahead.
Well, I just had a question about the 8th line. I seem to recall it was a zillion years ago, but from 109, and I'm not sure how far it went up. I think it went probably just past Road 3 North.
Yeah.
It was done in a different. It was done with something different.
That was more of an asphalt, where
Beyond that, maybe
beyond
it
that was more of the
chip.
tar and chip.
Okay.
And you can see if you drive down there, you can see
You still see the line there.
Yeah, and there's like the way it hasn't performed the way we were anticipating at the time either. And I guess along with a lot of the additional traffic that sees those roads right now, people bypassing Harrison using the blind line, as well as the 8th line all the way up to County Road 6 there. We're seeing a lot more traffic than we used to see on those roads. So it is taking a beating faster than anticipated. It hasn't been on the 5-year plan. It hasn't been flagged. But it has come up to our attention here in the last couple of years that it is getting significantly worse. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Questions? Sorry, Councillor Caldwell.
I just have been getting several calls in regards to some of our urban streets.
Yep.
And I just maybe wanted to put my vote in that area. Just didn't know. I'm saying there are a couple, like William Street between King and Alora, and King Street between Arthur and William. Those type areas are kind of in really bad shape. And I wondered if we put our vote somewhere else, do they happen or do they get postponed until 2000
Well, with one of the options there, we can do kind of a combination, right? Like, so we can do one of the roads out in the township as well as not as much in town, but some of those high priority areas in town could be done this year as well. With option 3, I guess, like doing the blind line in the 8th, that would use up all of the funds completely out in the township.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Councillor
Faulkner.
or Chair Turton. The 8th, is that going to take much reconstruction of the road? The blind line should be fine, but I'm thinking parts of that 8th are probably going to need some work as well.
Well, actually, the majority of the 8th line has been rebuilt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I believe the last phase was done 8 years ago, and that would have been from just below Pike Lake, or I'm going to say the west side of Pike Lake side road, all the way down almost up to the 3rd line. It was about 8 years ago, and that was from what I'm aware of was the last section that needed to be reconstructed. So what we would be proposing there is basically what we did on the 6th line.
Okay.
The sand pad and just resurface what's there. It has been standing up. The first project that we did was the Howick boundary, and it's showing minimal cracking, and it's been there for, I believe, 7 years now.
Nice.
So it is showing to be proven to work so far. There is certain roads out there that would need more than that. Just for an example, the 3rd line, it would need to be pulverized because it's way too out of shape that we can't get it back. That would be one that would take more. Yeah.
Because I noticed that down near Minto Ag, to the, I guess, west of that. My gosh, I'll bet you that shoulder's widened about 3 feet.
Yeah.
Just from the tar and chip breaking away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor.
Mayor Bridge.
Does everybody have to speak? I'm kind of leaning towards the one where you can do urban as well as rural. I think your recommendation to look at the 8th line, I think we should have it on. And again, it wasn't on the 5-year plan, but because of the new business and the traffic, we should be looking hard at it in 2018. But I'd like to do, I think it's the 6th. If you do, is it 16th and or the 12th that you can do some urban?
It'd be number 2, the 16th line, along with 5 to 6. Depending on how the prices come back.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you that. The prices will be a difference because every year that we don't know why the prices are up or down. It just seemed to.
And we may be able to do more in the urban centers as well, depending on how those prices come in. Yeah.
So that would be my.
Councillor Elliott.
Yeah. Just came to my mind. Is it possible to, if we did the 8th, not to do line and put that money into urban too?
That could be a possibility. What we were looking at when we came up with breaking it out this way is we could probably do the 8th and blind line over a 2-year term.
Yeah.
It'd be too much to do all in one shot, 1 year.
Yeah.
And then to break it out over 3 years would almost be too much as well. So just the way it broke it out, and just better bang for our buck with the mobilization of whoever the contractor is coming in.
If you're there, do it.
Yeah, yeah, just for the length of it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go ahead, Mr. Faulkner.
You're out there all the time, Mike. What's your recommendation that we do? Like, what do you think has the biggest priority?
I believe the 16th line. It has. I believe it was 4 years ago when that road really came to life.
Yeah.
We had a really bad spring breakup, so there is a section there that we would be looking at actually taking out. It's a short section, about 100 meters or so, and it's in a swampy area. Building it up and then resurfacing that.
Doing it right.
Doing it right, exactly.
I'm good with what.
So I'm looking for a motion. Mayor Bridge?
I'll make the motion. We do the 16th line and the rural, or the urban,
So number 2.
number 2.
There's a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Elliott. So everybody understands then that that's the chosen one and we're going to vote on it. Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor of that motion? Against? You want to be noted?
I just would like to put in a motion for number 1. That's all.
So-
I think our urban area,
So with
really
number
needs
1, we're going to get some of number 1 with number 2.
but 5 or 6 blocks, that's
Yeah.
not much
Not 25.
Yep. So that motion is carried.
for 3 towns.
Thank you. Let's move along to the next one, which is another municipal drain, number 116, and we have some tender results.
Yes, these are the tender results for municipal drain 116, which would be the Dowling drain that was brought forward originally back in 2015, I believe, is when the original report came to council. And you can see this is the proposed project for that drain as outlined there. And you can see we did have a number of contractors submit with the prices being very close. Yeah. Is there any questions?
Questions on this municipal drain 116? So the recommendation is that council receive the Public Works Road Foreman report regarding municipal drain number 116 and award the tender to construct the new drain to Marquette Farm Drainage Limited for a total amount of $35,309 plus, sorry, $35,309
That's agent.
plus HST.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that, okay, that looks good. Can we have a mover and a seconder? Deputy Mayor Faulkner, Councillor Anderson. All in favor of this motion? Against? That's carried. Okay. So, the wastewater foreman, Mark. This is the sanitary manhole repair program that we started here a number of years in Palmerston. Can you explain your proposal, please?
Yep. Okay. The 2017 capital budget has $100,000 in it for Harrison inflow and infiltration. As you guys are very well aware, it prevents surface water and groundwater from entering the collection system, creating unnecessary high flows. I added some pictures there of some fairly decent leakers.
Speakers.
The town hired Discount Drain to complete these repairs in Palmerston in 2012. There's some figures there for numbers of manholes and cost. This work was sole source because Discount was the only people doing the work for a competitive price at the time. In 2013, council considered a report looking at three other suppliers. One of them being Liquid Force, which had a comparable price to Discount, or a comparable product to Discount, but it was nearly twice the price. So we stayed with Discount. Recently, we became aware of a firm called Specialty Grouting Services out of Mount Forest. They've done work in Waterloo, Mount Forest, and Orangeville. So far, the information we're getting back from their quality work is good. Their preliminary pricing is very reasonable, which creates an opportunity for the town to go to competitive bids on this work. So far, the sanitary manhole program has been very successful. As you can see in the table,
huge.
We've made some pretty significant reductions in flows. 19 infill lots in Palmerston with 98 development lots, and Harrison has a 15% increase in available rated capacity. So that's fairly significant. So we'd like to have specialty grouting services into some repairs on some manholes as a test program to assess the product and their work. If the product and company are able to offer a comparable service to what we're receiving now, a proposal request would be prepared and set for open bid.
Questions? Hearing none, I'd like to just back up to the very first picture, 109A and 109A. So that's before and after. So when you look at this, you say to yourself, well, heck, anybody could do what they've done there. But it's really much more than that. Okay, so I had this explained to me. I watched one done. It's gouging that out around the pipe way back in and installing the resin and such like way back in, and not just the surface. That surface stuff is just cosmetic. So there is much more to it than meets the eye. Councillor Caldwell.
Do they not have to identify the leaks? Is that not a major thing as well, that we don't know where the leaks are? So that's a big part of the project, is it not, identifying where the leaks are?
Yep, we in 2016 our staff actually conducted our own assessment of the system. We identified what we think needs to be repaired.
Great.
Councillor Elliott?
You were saying capacity. Do you, like there's houses being built and subdivisions being going to be built. How do you track where you're at in capacity? Does that work through your building inspector, or how's that work?
The 15% that I came up with, that's strictly off of the rated capacity in the design for the lagoon system in Harrison. So,
Mayor Bridge?
Yeah, just to go back a little bit in the history, and I thought the report's well laid out. Thanks, Mark, for that report. I was kind of the guy that talked to. It was funny because Discount Drain was actually in Denver, Colorado, at a conference, and they just started this way back. It was a brand new product, so we were in big trouble in Palmerston with their inflows, so this is something we tried, and they've done a great job. It's great that other companies are getting involved now, because that'll bring the price down, because as you know, if there's only one or two companies there, they can pretty well, but the results speak for themselves. I mean, I think that's been a great win, because otherwise we've got to rip up a road, get in there, work on it all up, and do a lot more work to do it than having it done some of this way. So it's great that technology can help us. And I think possibly, and I ask you this, Mark, our meters have helped a lot on our inflows, have they not?
yes, yeah, that should be considered.
Yeah, and we did an investment. This council did the investment in the meters, but that certainly has taken away a lot of those other things, like the toilets and all the other things that weren't being looked after, because when you're in flat, it doesn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah. I think it's been a great win for the town, and I turn to yourself or CEO White to maybe, when are we going to get the report that tells us, like, I know we still have that sort of restriction in Palmerston, but I think our flows are looking pretty good. We don't want to run into a problem, but is that all part of what Mark's going to bring down the road?
So Mark and the chief building official will work on that report, but basically you can't just take 1 year, you have to take a 3 to 5 year average on that. And so they will be coming back with a recommendation as to whether we can increase our number of units. If I'm not mistaken, the rated capacity is 2,500 in Palmerston, or 2,000?
2,010 cubes.
So we're getting downwards. 2015 was an extraordinarily dry year, so you can see the flows there were 1155, but we're heading down, marching down towards half of our rated capacity there now. The engineers will tell you need a 20% buffer for wetter days and so forth, but it's made a huge difference. So, well, we've added 100 and some lots. I think we'll be able to add more. And but as Mark says, I think you heard him earlier, We do need to plan for more work in the Palmerston station, but this has deferred an awful lot by doing this. Even though we spent 900 and some thousand, it would have been a multi-million-dollar plant expansion if we didn't do this. We'll have that report, I would say, in the coming couple months. As long as the engineers tell us it's the right time to do it, because they kind of have an input into that as well. And Mark's working with Triton Engineering and new contacts there. And get technical assistance where he needs it, but obviously he's very capable in his own right. Commend them all. We started climbing into our manholes 3 years ago, and it's amazing what we discovered.
When you back up and you talk about the fears that were thrown out there in Palmerston when we started talking about the lack of building lots because of our capacity, and this has really taken the pressure off. So, any other questions? Sorry,
And good point, Dave. And I think one of the things that this council has done a really good job about investing that 900,000, because if without it, if we wouldn't have done the meters and we wouldn't have done what we've done with inflow, there would be no building in Palmerston. We wouldn't be looking at those industrial lots because we would be out of capacity. So that's good foresight. So money well spent.
Okay, so no other questions? The recommendation here is that the council receives the wastewater foreman's March 27th, 2017 report on sanitary manhole repair program and approves a test program with specialty grouting, followed by a proposal request for competitive bids on this work if appropriate. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor Caldwell, Councilor Anderson, all in favor of this motion? Against? That's carried. Mark, thank you for your good work.
Thank you.
All three of you gentlemen. I'll pass the chair back to our mayor.
Thank you. Other business as disclosed, Mary Lou.
I just want to remind everyone that the Chamber of Commerce has their annual Achievement Awards on April the 27th, the day after our volunteer dinner at the Harriston Legion. And Belinda has tickets for the event. So I encourage everyone to attend that is able to.
Unfortunately, I'll be down in Pasadena, but I'll be thinking about you that night.
Oh, you're going to be down Pasadena for our volunteer dinner?
I know both of them.
What? Oh, I think you did that last year too.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I got there last year. Oh, Sue was there. I wasn't there till
Sue was
later.
there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going down to visit family, so I'm sorry to say. But Ron is going to be
So
a
we don't get
capable
Sue
stand-in.
either then.
We don't get Sue either?
No, you don't get Sue. So that
dear.
hurts.
Yeah, that really hurts.
No matter what, I was there, but it hurts.
That's right. You're right.
Maybe I said Aaron.
Very good.
Ron.
No, I think Dave had.
Dave.
I already did my.
Did you? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Ron.
I have two quick ones. First of all, in the federal budget, there's a thing in there to remove the amount of tax exemption income for counselors, and I was in contact with our representative, Mr. Nader, and he's going to ask us to show a letter of support so that he can bring it up into the legislature, and so I'll be asking to put that on next meeting agenda so that we can get that passed. It's I know what it's meant to do, but it's going to punish a lot of small councils, and it's hard enough to get people to run. And the second thing is we have our we're going to have a meeting on Thursday night to start divvying the funds, the profit up from the plow match. So I'll bring a bigger report to that.
Are you serious?
Later.
This Thursday?
This Thursday.
Are you able to announce what these funds are total?
Well, yeah, approximately. You know, I've got 3 audited reports, and they're all different, slightly different. So
Give us the middle one.
I'll give you 353,000 profit.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's all.
That'll be almost the bottom or the worst scenario.
But that's split.
That's split between OPA and us. So
I didn't want
we will
people to
be
think they were
handing out-
handing out 300.
we will be handing out to our volunteer groups and whatnot, and to special organizations, approximately 170,000.
How'd that compare to last year and the year before?
In 2000, they only had 55,000 to.
Oh. Wow.
So apparently we've done very well.
And just on that one report on I've sent out something off to FCM, and the AMO is also looking into the wages. And by the way, it was an excellent report in the paper and how you broke it down.
Yes.
Because I think, I don't know, it's a really surprise, because when I was at Federation of Canadian Municipalities, when we were doing the budget review and everything, nothing was said out there. So I'm thinking it was hid, and they're pretty good at that. That there wasn't any on the front page of anything. And I don't know what the rationale is, because
Money grab.
well, not even that.
They did
because
it to make up for some other area that they.
inconsistencies of some sort we cut back. But basically what it does is really, we have a hard enough time getting people to run for council now with what you pay. Don't get me wrong, but that's why you get old guys like me can afford to. You can't get young people to do it because they can't afford to take time off work and do all that stuff. So if we and then the other option is then it's another download on the municipality. So to keep our salaries, as you saw in the paper, to keep your salary at the level you're actually at when you put the taxes back in. So it's really downloading. The government will get a few more taxes federally, but it's downloading it back to the municipality. So you really actually download the municipalities to keep us even.
Because you got to put the wage up.
Or you don't get anybody to run.
And they're going to grab a whole bunch of money that they never got before.
Well, and yeah, but
you take a third. You take a third of every councillor across Ontario.
But you'd be surprised, Ron. It's very
taxes.
It's very small in the overall amount that the federal government will actually get, when they have a look at their trillion budget. So
I'm just saying,
but it's harder on us.
Money they're taking.
So both those organizations are looking into it as well. So
thank you.
Did you?
Clifford firefighters spaghetti dinner.
Yes.
Friday night.
Sorry.
But he would bring that up because he's the.
I forgot to tell.
No, I intended to bring it up, and
The Clifford firefighters spaghetti dinner is what time?
Friday night.
Friday night at 5 o'clock till 8, something like that. So they run out. Okay. Anything else?
And it's the best spaghetti dinner you'll ever go to.
Great. Moved by Councilor Anderson, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. The committee of the whole convenes a regular council meeting. All in favor? Moved by Councilor Caldwell, second by Councilor Dirksen. The Council of the Town of Minto ratifies motions made in the committee of the whole. All in favor? Moved by Councilor Elliott, second by Councilor Anderson. The bylaw number 2017-30 to authorize the mayor and the CEO clerk to execute agreement between the Corporation of Town of Minto and the Palmerston Missionary Church. I can never say it. Evangelical Missionary Church for the community garden be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed over the council. See what corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councilor Turton, second by Councilor Caldwell. The bylaw number 2017-31 to authorize an agreement with Dennis and Sherry Kaufman regarding the town purchasing of 3 Elora Street South, Clifford, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed over the council. See what corporation. All in favor? Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councilor Elliott. The bylaw number 2017-32 to adopt the estimates of all sums required during the 2017 for purposes of the municipality be introduced and read first, second, and third time, passed over the council. Seal the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councilor Dirksen, second by Councilor Turton. The bylaw number 2017-33 to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement with Tricoat Wood Finishing Limited to permit industrial addition to 300 Minto Road, Palmer, to be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed in open council. Seal the corporation. All in favor? There you go. Moved by Councilor Anderson, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. The bylaw number 2017-34 to authorize the sale of industrial lands on Minto Road, Palmerston Industrial Park to Sean and Carrie. Is that Carrie? Kira. Well. Wheel. Be introduced first, second, and third time, and passed on the council. Seal the corporation. In favor. Almost got that. Moved by Councillor Caldwell, second by Councillor Dirksen, that the bylaw number 2017-35 to authorize the sale of the industrial lands, the first right of refusal for additional lands on Minto Road, Palmerston Industrial Park to Shrimp Canada, 2541260 Ontario Limited, Inc. to be introduced and read in first, second, and third time, passed on council, COC of the corporation. All in favor? Finally get my shrimp in town. That's good.
It's only hatching.
No, he's gonna
he's
have graded.
Eventually.
Oh yeah, eventually we're gonna be right there. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Anderson. Bylaw number 2017-36 to confirm the actions of the council of the corporation of Town of Minto respecting a meeting held April 4th, 2017, be reduced to read first, second, and third time, and passed on by council of COCL corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Turton, second by Councillor Caldwell. The council of the Town of Minto adjourned to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor? Thank you. Great meeting, everybody. There was a lot of stuff done there, and it's a lot quicker than I thought.
I didn't